I can't call myself a big fan of James Bond movies, but I watch them from time to time, and I even like some a little. What Bondiana has traditionally been known for is its humor, irony, various espionage technical means, and caricature images of world-class villains. But everything changed with the appearing of Daniel Craig. He brought to these films unbearable seriousness of being. Craig does not know how to smile. He cannot even to grin. His face always has the same expression, alert tension. Even Bruce Willis, who has the same problems, has richer facial expressions. Craig would have been well suited to the roles of harsh Indian leaders from the time of the conquest of the Wild West, whose faces turned to stone once and for all at the sight of white settlers. But by the will of fate, the actor began to play in Bond films, which is why they immediately received a different meaning. Too much drama and some kind of anguish appeared in them. Before Craig, Bond was the embodiment of every man's dream. An important mission, a good physical form, traveling around the world, a lot of easy love adventures. But the Agent 007, played by Craig, brought with him into the funny series many elements of the women's world. So-called love, children, gynocentrism, and man's self-sacrifice, so on. Instead of a pleasant smile, we received a dull headache, which is enough in the other films. Bond, who was one of a kind, became one of many. Women won their place in this franchise and pulled problems of intersexual relations on the heads of the audience. The first scenes in the film look just nauseously. Bond is engaged in activity completely uncharacteristic of his image. He travels with his woman in Italy and pleases her in every way. Is it Bond, a question arises, or he is some kind of impostor? The former Bonds never did this. They respected themselves. Next, Agent 007 falls into a sentimental mood at all. He goes to lay flowers at the grave of another woman. I don't know who she was to him, because I didn't watch all the movies. And only the explosion of the monument returns everything to its place. The chase begins, we watch shooting and stunts. It would seem that now we can to indulge in the usual spectacle. But it was not here. The filmmakers continued to rape our minds. They sent Craig's character to retirement and put a black woman on his place, who is absolutely useless for the plot. So to speak, they change the hero's gender. No less annoying is the girl who helps Craig in Cuba. She is in an evening dress with large slits on the sides, and she crushes trained men right and left, masterfully shoots from a machine gun, and inflicts murderous blows with her hands and feet. Fortunately, the cuts on her dress allow, and they doesn't tear. But do the authors of the film know that this simply cannot be? Do they guess that any healthy man with a normal reaction, even without knowledge of fighting arts, will beat any trained woman simply because he is much stronger? It's a pity that there is no sport competition where men would compete against women. Then the myth about the mighty movie star's superwoman would collapse in a moment, everything would become clear, and we would no longer be fed by such nonsense. Of course, fun should be in this franchise, but not so detached from reality. In the whole, movies with Craig has perverted the very idea of James Bond films, turning vaudeville show into a boring and tiresome spectacle, when a man is inspired that he must live for a woman and die for her. And Bond does exactly that in the final. He dies saving his woman and his daughter. Of course, along the way he saves the world, but only in the second place, and in the first, them themselves. But earlier his predecessors saved only the world. There was no talk about any women and children. They were part of the saved world and didn't stick themselves out ahead of it. It is known that this is the last Bond film with Daniel Craig, due to the age of the actor, and it is probably for the best. When Craig first started, there was a lot of excitement about him, but then it became clear that he led Bond to the dead end. Of course, he was not alone, but scripts were written for him, and considering his ability to play certain scenes. By the way, the villain in this film is quite a match for Bond. He lives with memories of the old mental trauma. Critics admire his performance, but I didn't see anything special in it. His main advantage lies in his unusual appearance, but it's just not his merit. He plays quite mediocre. He tries to be scary, but it doesn't always work out. Even his mask-like face doesn't help. And one more thing. Bond in this film is somewhat similar to the last Joker movie. Not literally, but in fact. Both has spoiled the easy side with their inappropriate seriousness. I hope the next 007 agent will return to the origins of the genre. If you liked this review, please put a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. See you. Bye bye.